Hello and welcome back to Niche Tea, where we talk about drama happening in communities you may not be a part of. I went to a summer party for my company yesterday, so that's why my voice sounds like a frog. I apologize. Last time we talked about the latest in this series of not great conventions happening in 2024, this time in the Pokemon community, specifically Pokeverse 2024 in the Philippines. Today we're moving back into the Genshin Impact community, which I have covered before. And actually, this story is a sequel/finale to the previous situation that I covered in this series. I know it's annoying, but you can watch the previous video by following the comment I'm replying to here. I highly recommend if you really want all the details to get fully up to speed with what we're about to talk about. For those who really don't want to do that, understood, here's the 30,000 foot overview. Genshin Impact is a game that's gained a lot of popularity over the last few years, and specifically there are people who have made their careers out of making content related to the game, playing it, talking about it, reviewing it, etc. The game itself does not actually matter for the story. The game is made by a company called MiHoYo, and they keep doing shit that's pissing people off. Earlier in the year, they did some shit that pissed people off, and it set off this whole chain of events in the Genshin content creator sphere that's centered on three specific people primarily. The first person is a guy named Tectone. He likes to stir up a lot of drama and shit in between people. He likes to be very emotionally charged in his content. He clickbaits a lot, allegedly. He's repeatedly accused of creating and egging on drama so that he can make content about it and then monetize that content. And specifically relating to this situation, earlier in the year, he kind of started up this campaign where he was calling out creators whom he felt were working directly with MiHoYo because the company continues to screw things up and upset players. But then from his perspective, there are a lot of content creators who are still being very favorable and not criticizing them for their missteps, and he sees that as like them being shills. The second person is a guy named Atsu, who is another Genshin content creator who is fairly well known for having social connections to MiHoYo. He doesn't work there. He's generally understood to benefit very greatly from this connection he has to MiHoYo, and also to have a very kind of like select specific group of friends he hangs with, generally referred to as a clique. In February, as Tectone was getting people riled up, at one point Atsu came in and tweeted at Tectone this whole long thing about trying to quell things down and cut the drama, and specifically said to Tectone, I know there's somebody who's telling you things about me that aren't true. Come talk to me about it. Enter the third person, a guy named Braxophone, also a Genshin content creator. Braxophone and Tectone are friends, and Atsu was referring to Braxophone when he was talking to Tectone and saying, I know someone's saying shit about me to you. It's not true. Braxophone ended up coming out with like an 8-page Google document and specifically added Atsu and was like, I know that you don't like me and you never have. I've been trying to make friends because this is my career and I want to network, but you're actively blacklisting me from events and from things like partnerships that I could be doing with MiHoYo, and you're ruining my career, basically. This then caused a bunch of other people to come out and talk about their issues they had with Atsu, but then also other people came out in defense of Atsu, and everybody just went like this. And then it kind of just fizzled out and ended. Atsu did put out a like 55-page document trying to defend himself, but it really didn't get much traction because there seemed to be a lot of ill will toward Atsu, just generally, that everybody just got out and it didn't really matter what his response was. Okay, so we're caught up. Real fast, before we go any further, I am still supporting Operation Olive Branch. I would really appreciate it if you are able to potentially contribute to supporting a team of artists who are looking to get to safety alongside their families. It's 15 people in total. They could really use any help they can get. There's been some good traction over the last few weeks. If we can keep that going, I would be super, super appreciative. If you are able to support, that would be amazing. If not, if you're open to sharing, I'd super appreciate it. So, what happened this time? All of that stuff happened in February, and from there, things pretty much died down. Until 5 days ago, Atsu came on Twitter to say that he's quitting this entirely. He's lost everything in his life, and he posted another 36-page Google Doc kind of airing out all of his grievances. The key points from the document are, one, that he's lost his entire career due to what happened in February. His views are down, he's not getting anything he used to, and it's not worth him continuing to do. Two is that he found out his wife has been having an affair and they are getting divorced, so his marriage is also now over. He doesn't blame this on anybody involved in this specific thing. He's just explaining what's going on in his life. Three is touching back on some of the allegations from February, and there are some interesting points here. Most interestingly, he alleges that Braxophone does have a contract with MiHoYo. As a reminder, that was kind of the whole thing, was that Braxophone was saying that because Atsu didn't like him and Atsu was so connected with MiHoYo, Atsu was actively blacklisting him and affecting his career. If he has a contract with MiHoYo, then that's not true. He then proceeds to like one by one acknowledge everyone who came out during the previous thing. He writes open letters to multiple of his friends saying that he's disappointed in the fact that they didn't defend him, basically. He apologizes to a whole bunch of people, and I think these are people who maybe came out with stories about him previously. He says some more stuff to Braxophone directly. It's like fairly cordial. To Tectone, he's like, you fucking suck, basically. Kind of agree. And he included 2 open letters to drama channels, Asmongold and Some Ordinary Gamers, Mutahar, and basically admonishes them for not allegedly fact-checking the story before they covered it, thus contributing to his downfall. So he drops this document. He and one of his former friends named Dish have a little bit of a back and forth, and then he pieces out. The back and forth between Atsu and Dish is so weird to read. They're very much talking around the things they feel and prefacing everything with like, I care about you and this makes me sad and I don't hold any bitterness, and then they're like, fuck you. So that seemed like that. But then Braxophone comes back with another Google document. This one's only 7 pages long, thank God. Oh, honestly, I don't think it's a great response. Right off the bat, on page 1, he says, and I quote, I'm not going to sit here and act like everything I said in my initial document is true. What? Can we get more info on that? No? Okay. He does not expound on that. At no point does he say, here are the things that I said before that are not true, whether because of a lie or a misunderstanding by me. He then includes this really sassy pop quiz, which is really funny, don't get me wrong. From that and the rest of the documents, the key points are, 1, he does not deny having a contract with MiHoYo and heavily implies that he does have one, that it's under NDA, and so he can't talk about it, and that part of the NDA is that he can't acknowledge that he has the contract. Which, fine, but why did you go out of your way to say you were being blacklisted with the company then? You cannot be blacklisted and employed by them at the same time. And yes, the specific words used matter, because now as a third party, I feel manipulated by Braxophone. Because now the whole thing changes to not you weren't able to do your job or make your living or whatever. You just wanted more, and you saw Atsu as somebody who was able to get more for people he liked, and you knew he didn't like you, whether that was justified or not. He again brings up Atsu's connections. Apparently one of Atsu's very good friends lives with someone who works at MiHoYo. I don't know that Atsu has directly denied having connections there, but even if he has, I think generally people acknowledge that he does. So for me, this was less of a bomb drop, I guess, in the document, which it seemed like to Brax, it kind of was considered that, and there might be something I'm missing there. 3 is that Atsu doesn't like Braxophone and has told his friends he doesn't want to be at places where Braxophone's going to be, like events and stuff. This is also, I believe, understood to be true. 4 is that he's generally a very manipulative person and likes to victimize himself a lot. And then 5 is that Atsu's downfall in viewership was because Genshin generally is getting less views and less interest from people, not because of anything that Braxophone did. Then, although I don't know if this happened before or after Braxophone came out with his document, Tectone made a video reacting to Atsu's document. There were 2 key things I took away from that. 1 is that allegedly 13 other creators had come out after Braxophone to talk about their bad experiences with Atsu and being manipulated or just feeling like he treated them badly. And then 2, according to Tectone, it was always understood that there's no proof that Atsu was ever able to blacklist anybody from actual engagements with MiHoYo, like paid contracts. What? Isn't that why we're here? So just to summarize it all, Atsu has very good connections to MiHoYo and is able to get for himself and those he likes good contracts. Braxophone, it seems, is also able to get contracts. They either are not as good as the one Atsu's can get, or he is under the perception that that's true. Atsu has said he keeps a tight circle because he doesn't want to be taken advantage of by people who just want to further their careers. Braxophone attempted to befriend Atsu multiple times and it didn't work out due to awkwardness or miscommunication or whatever. Braxophone wasn't invited to a specific event party that keeps getting referenced because he upset the host, who was not Atsu. Atsu talks to his friends who are also Genshin content creators about not liking Braxophone. Braxophone believes due to this, he's not invited to more industry events. Braxophone believes but cannot prove that Atsu has the power to blacklist creators with MiHoYo. That seems to be the end of it. Everyone says they're moving on. Everyone seems to be very sick of this whole thing and really wishes these guys would have dealt with it in DMs. My personal opinion is Atsu's probably manipulative. Too many people have said so for it to not be true. He basically takes no accountability for anything. Braxophone at this point comes off as really entitled to me. I understand why Brax might feel bitter and disadvantaged. Just because Atsu is connected doesn't mean that he has this responsibility to give an even playing field to everybody. He doesn't have to be your friend or like you, and he is allowed to vent about you to his friends. Shit like this happens at companies all the time. Him not actively going out of his way to help you is not the same as him blacklisting you. You can't equate those. And it makes you an even bigger manipulator than you accuse him of being. I think all major players lost in this. The general public is very much over it. One thing most people do seem to agree on, though, is that Tectone is an asshole.